Welcome back to the Be Strong Show. I am your host, Michelle Shirley, CEO and Chief Heart Officer for Be Strong International. Well, I'm so glad you tuned in today. There are so many amazing things happening in our community. And of course, with Be Strong, we just finished our back to school event. So all the kids that we've served, over 2,000 kids, have book bags filled with supplies for them to start the academic year off strong and great. And we want to thank all of our supporters for your amazing work in helping us in that effort. Today, we have an amazing guest with us, a dear friend, a person that's very dear to my heart. Her name is Arlene Peterson, and she's the executive director of the Wow Center. And let me tell you, I did a walkthrough and it was wow and tears and everything else. And so thank you, Arlene, for coming on the show today.
Thank you for having me. This is a great treat for the midweek. Yeah.
Yes. So first I want to start off by saying, tell us a little bit about, because, you know, we see each other on LinkedIn, we're supporting one another, especially as nonprofit leaders in this space, right? We're always cheering for one another and we see each other often in the same spaces, right? But let people know a little bit more initially about your career journey, because you've been at the Wow Center, and we'll talk about that for a little bit, for almost it's
a year. Almost
right?
my anniversary, yeah.
Right, congratulations.
Thank you.
Amazing. But tell us a little bit about how you even got started in the nonprofit sector.
Well, the journey, quickly, to tell it quickly as much as I can, I really just wanted to be a person of service.
Right.
I wanted to make a difference. When I was a junior in high school, I didn't know what that meant. You know, my sister wanted to be an artist. The other one wanted to be a lawyer. And I'm like, who am I? What am I going to do? I just want to make a difference. And then I saw the news and I thought, oh, you know, they're talking about important things. There's an audience. Maybe I could study news broadcasting and then point people in the right direction of need. That was just always the core of it. So I studied broadcast journalism. I worked at the news station, Telemundo. I was an associate producer. I was in the thick of it. It was an exciting time in Miami, actually seeing everything that is coming to reality right now was being talked about and being planned at the time. The political conversations, the penny taxes, everything that was happening that we're seeing now. And then I, loved studying it. It was really exciting to be creative and kind of have that forward path of, I'm going to make super important documentaries one day and just let people know powerful things that we need to rally around.
Right.
And one day it just hit me that this was not the path. And I just said, hold on a second. This isn't really going in the direction of making that difference that I thought it was going to make. And then I just decided to apply for a job that was in the newspaper, a little this big newspaper ad that didn't even say who it was for. And when it was for like an administrative assistant. And it was going to be temporary because I was going to move to Boston and then get my master's in film documentary production.
Wow.
So that ended up being with United Way. That little
blurb.
That little blurb.
That you took a risk on because you didn't know who it was.
And our common friend, Anna Martinez from Miami-Dade College now, she was one of the interviewees. I had 5 interviews for this job, and they were like, you can have this job, but will you consider being a fundraiser? And I was like, no, thank you. That is not part of my career path, no interest in it. And they were super persistent. And I said, if they see something or, I'm a woman of faith. And I said, God, if this is the path that you want me on, then I'll give it a chance. But you got to be there with me. Right. So I did it and I loved it. And I was working, in the school system and different, opportunities with the major events, learned a lot. And that's really what I wanted to do. I was like, this is it. I'm working with nonprofits. I'm seeing the need in the community. Yeah. There are community leaders. And so that being the voice for those that are in need was exactly what
and making
was
those
happening.
connections too,
Right.
because you're right there getting those dollars. Right.
So I, at 22, was given access to our entire community
Wow.
and need, and then learning from the leaders and being around them. So it was a really exciting time. And I did the same when I moved to Boston. I ended up, I don't want to do anything else. I just want to do this, and worked up there as well. And long story short, that's the journey continued, you know, with one opportunity became the next one. As much as I would learn, I would take it to the next level and the next layer, which basically brought me to WOW to be the executive director.
Yeah. Well, not so fast, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So we met at Spotlight Miami, and it was a breakfast, I think, or a brunch.
Like 3 years ago.
Yes. And we just hit it off. We started texting each other
instantly.
After that, right? And it's because of Vicky, right? Vicky Hopta.
Our mutual friend, grant writer.
Yes.
And yeah, that was a special connection. That luncheon gave us the chance to just talk about our heart inspirations, and we were just there on the same level.
Yeah.
And it was really exciting to see, because I think you were new with the organization, and it was exciting to see the momentum that you were making with Be Strong. So
yeah.
Then
so
you became a woman of inspiration for me.
And same, right? So I want to talk about, I think there was also a time when, you know, when we met there, you were at Chapman. And I fell in love with Chapman, and I'm still in love with Chapman, right? Their ability to be so intentional about meeting the needs of families when it comes to the homeless population, there's just so much there.
Yeah.
And so tell us a little bit about what you did there, and then making that leap to the WOW Center. Yeah.
Yeah, so when I met you at Chapman, that was actually my second time at Chapman. It was Community Partnership for Homeless before that, 10 years before. And I had been asked to come there I was in the classroom. I was teaching middle school, not middle school. I was actually 4th and 5th grade language arts at Shenandoah Elementary. What? And so they pulled me back into the fundraising scene, and it was right when Mr. Chapman had just passed. So it was the very kind of early years of that transition for the organization. So super exciting to have been able to come back right as the pandemic began, another time of transition for the organization. So there was a lot of learning, a lot of building when I got there, because we had to launch a new signature event. That's when we launched Take a Walk in Her Shoes. That's when we launched Woman-Aid. Yeah. That's when we launched the Young Professionals, Next Gen. Everything was entrepreneurial and brand new for the organization. When I came back, it was time to revitalize and bring it back to life again. So it was a really exciting time, an exciting time to dig in, you know, in the operational side of things, because a lot of the fundraising was compromised, during the pandemic. So really digging into the details of, you know, the fundraising structure and how the relationships are nurtured during that time. Digging into, you know, board relationships, right? We had a lot of opportunities I had great board chairs during that time period. Ed Joyce and Peter Pruitt and now, as of today, Bridget Chexamoli. They were phenomenal. Carlos Fernandez Guzman, in just really being intentional in board development, right? So we did a lot on recruiting new board members and being intentional in that process. So learning that, doing our strategic planning process, you know, working so closely with our CFO and our different programmatic components, which really prepared the way for all of the pieces that I'm, you know, now a part of with the WOW Center. Every single bit of it. I was just going to say that. Everything that I hear you saying was just those skill sets that were needed for you to make this big jump into being the executive director of the WOW Center. Exactly. I wouldn't have been able to imagine taking on this kind of role. You know, it'd be very scary and overwhelming, but I was ready for it. I mean, it was like not a trepidation at all. It
Right.
was very simple to think, okay, there's a lot to learn, but I can handle it because I've got some foundational knowledge and some really great, exciting vision for what's needed.
Yes. And I think that's interesting. I've seen that before, even in my own firm, where I think the skill sets that are developed with fundraising can really land you anywhere.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah. You have to be adaptable.
You have to be flexible. You have to
creative.
learn rejection.
Exactly.
Right?
Relationships are everything.
Are created. Yep.
You know, you have to see a very positive mindset for everything. Yeah. Everything has to be turned into an opportunity.
Yes.
And that's natural to me anyway.
Right. And to those who are in that field, right? Whether you last or not depends on having that sort of outlook.
Yeah.
On life, right? Yeah. And on things. So that's so great. So tell us then about the WOW Center. I mean, I thank you again for allowing me to even tour.
It's a pleasure.
I cried.
Oh, I know.
I cried after that because I just realized here is a population that isn't, I don't know if I've ever heard advocates fight for it. I don't know if I've heard system-wide change around what the disabled population really needs. And to walk there through that and to see them. And by the way, you know everyone's names, the funny relationships that are going on there, just the cute little things that are happening, and you telling me about, you know, some of the couples even that are there. It just broke my heart, but at the same time, I really am glad that you're the one that's at the front of this. And so I can just imagine what God's going to do with it because
already
you're there, right?
Yeah.
So tell me.
Well, the WOW Center, you know, for those who this is new for them, this is a center. I call it heaven on earth. It's a center for adults with developmental disabilities. And that could be a range, you know, everything from intellectual disabilities, autism, Down syndrome, Prader-Willi syndrome, and every variation in between, from 22 years old to about 76. We have an individual there that has been there 51 years.
I think I met
and
him.
you met Steve, right? Yes. So this is an organization that was founded by parents who thought, what are we going to do with our children, who saw potential in them, but our community really didn't have much beyond what the public school system offered in the special education setting.
Right.
So once they graduate, which is still the case,
and even there,
in some ways,
limited. Right. I don't see what you have there.
Exactly. So then you graduate from your educational setting, you learn your basic, you know, kind of grammatical, mathematical types of things, or even just basic life skills. And then what? You have a whole lifetime ahead.
Yeah.
And so this became a place that started as a nursery. It started as a place where they had landscaping, you know, they were growing landscaping foliage and then selling it to the community. By having that place, they were able to learn, you know, skills. They were able to develop relationships, you know, and just interact with the community in a special way. And then it evolved into an adult day training, which is what you see on a day-to-day basis. It's not residential. They come, you know, about 9 a.m, leave at about 3, and the whole day is about having a meaningful day. And that means being able to learn new skills, have choices, enjoy things like relationships and friendships and art therapy, music therapy. They'll learn how to cook or take care of home, you know, chores, to participate, whether they're able to participate at home in their own community, or we also have a workforce program where if they show interest and want to develop further and see that pathway, we can help them with those skills. We can identify them, evaluate, and then work on them in the way that they need it, and then identify our partners in the community that will be able to welcome them within the workplace, whether it's an internship or ultimately a job. And it's incredible to see, you know, once a month we have parents. I just came from that today. Once a month, we have parents from our program share their journey. Is one of the most incredible, overwhelming things that I experience throughout the year. To hear their story of hope and possibility and resilience and adversity and everything in between, and the incredible love, unconditional love that they pour into their family member, whether it's a parent, a single parent, a sibling.
Right.
It's just beautiful. And you're right. It's not that well known or seen so prominently in the community. I didn't even know this organization existed until a year ago. And we're all over the community.
When you got there, right?
Right.
So imagine, right? And you're doing a great job, by the way, I think, of putting it out there, pushing out there what the
Thank
WOW
you.
Center is. And I can tell anybody who goes there, you will say wow. Right?
Yeah.
It's just incredible that that's the name of it.
Soon it'll be a fundraiser to see how many times someone says wow when they come in.
It's like, I take your pin if you say baby, right? You're just going to start.
And it does not stand. So people ask, does it stand for something? It's the emotion, it's the feeling, it's the
so
expression
beautiful
that you get when you're there. And, you know, I think when you said that you cried, I remember that moment. It's something that I've noticed there day in and day out. It's because you're seen exactly who you are, as who you are, Michelle Shirley, and you are amazing to every single person that's there.
Yeah.
There's no filter of anything else other than you are wow to the individuals we serve.
Yeah.
And that pure joy that we're seen. You know, we have volunteers come all the time. There's wonderful opportunities to come. They get so much more out of it than, you know,
yes, and
than they're getting.
There was a staff member that's been there
41 years, Lourdes Matamoros.
Oh my God.
Right out of college. We have
Like,
staff
just
members that are there 20 years, 30 years.
Stuff, just incredible stuff that shows like
Yeah.
this work is so impactful, so
Right.
needed. I think the wow for me and the tears was the fact that, you know, we go about our daily lives and we're so ingrained in like what we're struggling with and what we're dealing with. And there is someone or people that are same, you know, situations that we're in that don't have that one level up. They need someone to be able to say, you are just as significant as I am.
Right.
Right?
Right.
I saw that there, and I think that's what brought me to tears. I was like, here is a group that is being treated with such dignity, such level of care.
They are the VIPs. They are the superstars of the, of the organization of the day. They are the VIPs. They are such very important people to each of us individually. That's why you have staff so committed to this. Our board members are committed because they are a treasure. And our board chair, when she was, you know, interviewing me, she says, this decision will not be taken lightly. There has to be someone who will make sure to take care of our individuals. This is their life.
Their life. That's
and their
home.
Parents who pass on entrust them to us, and their siblings who are trying to figure it out, they entrust them to us. So this is a lifetime, you know, service, and it's a huge
lift.
Responsibility, and it is a pleasure and an honor to be able to take on. And I see that in the workplaces when you talk to, you know, people who have hired our individuals, they're like, they have changed our culture. They changed culture, you know, and how we interact with each other, how we need to be patient with each other, how we're able to communicate and be a little, you know,
more giving,
more
gentle.
Yeah, and just, you know, get the hang-ups, put them over there, and just be real. And I think that that's the value that, you know, having this type of inclusive community. It's game-changing.
Yeah, and I think one thing that's powerful for me too is that as leaders, and I was thinking about this morning, it's like, you know, we do so much, and maybe very few people in our circle see our flaws. their flaws are on display every day. There's nothing they can do about it.
Right.
And so the fact that we have to love them through that.
Right. It just
Who
shows
are
our
we
capacity.
to have that chip on our shoulder to say that we're really any different? Because we didn't get to control how we came out of the womb, right?
Right.
We didn't get to control what happened there, right?
Right.
So it just opens up so much.
And that's that next layer that I notice is that if you know that you're capable to love unconditionally, it's one of the most powerful things to know about yourself.
Yep.
And so if you're able to see someone who's vulnerable or someone who isn't the picture that, we paint everything else that, that it needs to be.
To be beautiful and to be perfect. Yep.
And we're still able to be drawn and love them in a beautiful way, that really reflects back onto ourselves to know, my gosh, look what, it's not self-serving. I mean, I hope you understand what I'm saying. It's like to know that we can love profoundly and unconditionally is a very important thing to know that we can do.
Yeah.
And to exercise that.
Yeah. And I think it's important too to see that we have the limitations, because sometimes we think we do love unconditionally and we don't until that person shows up at our workplace, right?
Right.
That I need more compassion, that I need more gentleness, that I need more patience, right? Those things happen to us too, to put that mirror there, to like, you thought you were good. You no. You need some work. You need to work on that, right?
Right.
And then I think it makes us have too, I think, another level of gratitude, right?
Yeah.
To be thankful, because we complain a lot. We complain a lot. We grumble a lot. It's part of our nature, but
exactly. Even the day to day, gotta do this, gotta do that. And again, it's grounding when I can hear from the families. What families go through that have, family members with developmental disabilities it's monumental. There's so many social determinants alone within that, household of vulnerability. On a daily basis, there is that vulnerability of, well-being, mental health, financial security, stability, right? From one day to the next, you could be rushing to the emergency room. It's just a lot. Even social connections are limited sometimes,
Yeah.
It's the part that grounds me the most is what the families go through, and that's something that we work hard at. We've even shifted our mission statement that it's obviously to support the individuals with opportunities and resources and the communities that support them. So we want to make sure we've got the resources, like your type of organization is a wonderful resource for our community to keep the family strong, to keep that home strong.
Yeah,
despite
in the midst what's going on.
Right.
Yeah, because it's a lot. And we saw that during COVID, a lot of the disruption that caused so many things to happen.
Right.
Yeah. I want you to share a little bit about what is that, or what are those few things that someone watching today who says, wow, like I've never heard of this place. What can I do to support? How can I help in some way? What would you say to them?
Well, I would say that we're always looking for great volunteers. We'd love to show you around. We'd love for you to experience what Michelle experienced. To kind of see what we're doing, what a beautiful day looks like. Within our center. We obviously need the support of our corporate community, our philanthropists. This is we go above and beyond in what we provide to our individuals, so they are able to access through the Medicaid waiver, their day programming, but it's this much, and then we go 100% more by having social workers and our workforce program and our culinary and the enrichment and the high quality staff. And so that really takes our private donors to support us. And we do have an event coming up on October 25th.
Please share.
It's called WOW Experience. It's going to be at the Coral Gables Country Club, and I love this event. It was my first week at WOW last year when I was at this event, and it just blew me away because they do a phenomenal job of bringing wow to the event.
Love that.
So our individuals are a part of it. It's a party there every day. It's the music and the joy and the dancing.
I walked in the middle of the party.
Exactly. So there are surprises in store for this year, but the Wow Royale, which is that Palm Beach Palm Royale fun take on it.
Nice.
We launch our new merch at this event. We celebrate incredible champions for the organization, but most of all, you get to be a part of what WOW is, but in this fun social setting. So thank you for putting up the website. There are tickets available, sponsorships available.
Nice.
We have great sponsors already like Amazon and Google and, wonderful partners. So we'd love for you to join us.
That is awesome. I love it. Well, we could talk about it is a wow thing. So much more. But I want to get quickly into our social yaks game because I want the audience to know who you are, a little bit of who you are. So we're going to start with breaking the ice. So if you can read that aloud and then just answer and see what you want to share.
Okay. This could be controversial. What's something you would never buy? I personally would never buy jeans with holes in them. I know this could be controversial.
Like, old school, I just don't understand it.
I don't understand it. I know it's a thing, and I know people have several pairs. I just won't buy them.
You're just like, why?
Nope.
What is the purpose?
I celebrate you. You look cute in yours. I just can't do it. If I got a hole, then they're going somewhere else.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to get social. We're going to pick the next one. This is the yak here.
Okay. What gets you motivated at the start of each day? Well, for sure my 2 golden retrievers and multi-poo that are like, come on, let's go. It's time to go to the bathroom. They get me going. But I also start my day with prayer as I'm driving out of the driveway.
Nice.
And then just really, kind of set my intentions for the day. Sometimes I throw a song in there.
Nice.
And that's my motivation.
All right. That's good to know. We're going to dig deeper now. Let's see what we do there.
What is your happiest memory of a loved one? Wow.
Yeah.
Gosh, there's so many. My happiest memory of a loved one. How do you choose when you have 6 kids and you've got a great kid? I don't know. My happiest memory of a loved one with my loved ones, if I can alter this a little bit, is that we had, when the kids were all younger, we had a dining room table that was ginormous, 8 of us, and we used to play games at the table. So we'd play telephone.
Okay.
And we would just have a blast. And the older girls might do some like improv, games, that they would learn in their drama class. The kids, when they were learning how to tell jokes.
Right.
And
I went through that season.
Knick-knock jokes. And
yeah. Knock-knock. Yeah, knock-knock.
They called them knick-knock jokes. And yeah, just those I think are my funnest memories when we can be all at the dining room table and no drama, just
so beautiful.
Fun.
Yeah. So beautiful. Aw. 6 kids. That's another show. All right.
for each one.
You're going to read that one now. This is the last level, and I'm going to share something about you.
Oh, okay. So this one's about you? I will share something about you?
No, I'm going to share it about you, but you're going to read it. Yep.
Gotcha. Okay. Based on what you have heard me share, what would you say I should be most proud of?
I think, Arlene, you should just be most proud of your journey. Yeah, your journey from where you started to where you are now. And I think more intently listening to God's voice to hear that I needed to shift. And I think sometimes people move in fear and they don't shift. And they find out years later, like, oh, this isn't it. But you trusted and you shifted, and look where you are now because of listening.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
You're in such a beautiful spot and a beautiful place. And I'm sure you have so many stories of like things that have happened along the way that were good and not so good, but you are rock solid and you're just a rock star in every way. And you're my forever friend. And yeah, that's what I would share.
Oh, well, thanks.
Yeah.
I don't get to do that for you.
No, because it's all about you today. So we'll end here. Is there any last thing you want to share before we go to the audience about the WOW Center before we wrap up?
Well, I guess if you're interested in learning more about attending the WOW Center, I'd love for you to send us a note at info@wowcentermiami.org. You begin with a visit, and then kind of see if it's a good fit. But we do have a new building that we're building in a year, and so we're very excited to double our capacity. We're going to have more vocational programming there as well. So stay tuned because we're going to have a lot of spots open.
So excited. And you're going to invite me to the groundbreaking. Yes.
January, yes. God willing.
I'm inviting myself.
You are invited. Check.
Well, it was so great to have you on the show today. Thank you so much. And just the fact that we were able to spotlight those who have disabilities is amazing. So more people will know about your work and, of course, visit the WOW Center on their website. That wraps up today's show. So thankful that you tuned in. Again, we are all about love and relationships and families. We want families to thrive in the best way possible. We look forward to seeing you again soon. Thanks for tuning in.